The conveyor belt stops. The lights in the baggage claim area flicker, and that last lonely suitcase, the one with the neon green ribbon that definitely isn't yours, circles around for the 10th time. That sinking feeling in your stomach isn't just inconvenience. It's the realization that your entire trip just went up in smoke. Most people think lost luggage means the airline buys you a new wardrobe and sends you on your way. They're wrong. In my 15 years navigating the chaos of global aviation, from the frantic terminals of JFK to the tiny bush strips in the Serengeti, I've seen the fine print ruin more vacations than bad weather ever could. I've watched seasoned CEOs break down in tears because they realized, too late, that the $3,800 federal liability limit on lost bags has more holes in it than a block of Swiss cheese. Here's the cold, hard truth the airlines won't tell you. There are certain things they are legally allowed to lose, break, or misplace without owing you a single dime. I know, it sounds like a total scam. But stick with me, because if you're still tossing these items into your checked bag, you're basically playing Russian roulette with your sanity. Take your daily medications, for example. You might think, I'll just pack a few days in my pocket and put the rest in the suitcase. Don't do it. I've stood in a pharmacy in rural Italy trying to explain a specific blood pressure prescription to someone who didn't speak a lick of English, all while my suitcase was sitting in a warehouse in Dubai. It's not just about the hassle. It's about the fact that many international pharmacies won't or can't honor a U.S. script. If those pills are in your checked bag and that bag vanishes, you aren't just looking at a wardrobe change. You're looking at a medical emergency. But it gets worse. Let's talk about the tech trap. We're living in 2026. Everyone has a laptop, a tablet, or at least a high-end camera. You'd think the airline would cover a $2,000 MacBook if their handler tosses your bag like a frisbee, right? Wrong. Most domestic and international carriage contracts explicitly exclude fragile items and electronics from reimbursement. If your screen is shattered or your hard drive is fried, the airline's response is usually a polite shrug and a reference to page 47 of a contract you never read. And don't even get me started on the lithium-ion battery fire hazards that are getting people kicked off flights before they even leave the tarmac. You might be asking, why do they make it this complicated? The short answer is, because they can. The long answer involves a maze of international treaties and contract of carriage loopholes designed to protect their bottom line, not your vacation photos. If you've ever felt like the airlines are holding your gear hostage, hit that like button. It lets me know you're tired of the baggage lottery and want the actual rules of the game. Now, you might think the solution is just to pack light. But even the most minimalist traveler can get caught in the gate check trap. That's where things get really dangerous. You've done everything right, you've got your essentials in a small carry-on, and then the flight attendant tells you the overhead bins are full. If you don't know exactly what to pull out of that bag before you hand it over at the jet bridge, you're still at ground zero, because there's one specific category of items, something almost everyone packs, that is virtually unreplaceable, and the airline's insurance won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Now, if you think the electronics exclusion is bad, wait until you hear about the valuables void. I once met a traveler in London who was absolutely devastated. Not because her bag was lost, but because it had been vandalized. Her grandmother's vintage pearls, which she'd tucked deep inside a sock for safekeeping, were gone. When she filed a claim, the airline pointed to a single line in their 80-page contract. Liability does not extend to jewelry, heirloom items, or precious metals. Essentially, if it's small, shiny, and expensive, you're on your own. But it's not just the high-ticket items that'll burn you. Let's talk about the boring essentials that people treat like an afterthought. I'm talking about keys. Car keys, house keys, office fobs. It sounds so simple, right? But imagine landing back at your home airport at 2 a.m. after a 14-hour flight. You're exhausted, Your bag is currently on a detour to Singapore, and suddenly you realize you can't even get into your car to drive home. Or worse, you're standing on your front porch in the rain, and your house keys are somewhere in a cargo hold 3,000 miles away. In my experience, this is the one mistake that turns a travel hiccup into a genuine disaster. And then there's the paperwork pitfall. Even in our digital world, physical documents are the glue holding your trip together. Passports? Obviously. But what about your physical visas? Your original birth certificate for that cruise? Or even your car title? If these are in your checked bag and that bag takes a vacation of its own, you aren't just delayed, you are legally stuck. I've seen families miss entire cruises because their original boarding documents were in a bag that didn't make the connection. The airline's liability for consequential damages, like a missed $5,000 cruise, is exactly $0. Here's the secret the pro travelers know. Your carry-on isn't just for your laptop, it's your survival kit. But here's where it gets tricky. Airlines are getting more aggressive with gate checking. You've seen it. The flight is full, the overhead bins are maxed out, and a stressed-out agent is slapping pink tags on every roller bag in sight. If you aren't prepared to perform a 30-second survival strip of your bag right there at the jet bridge, you're handing over your lifeline to a system that, quite frankly, doesn't care about your grandmother's pearls. But wait, before you just start stuffing everything into your pockets, there is one specific item that is the ultimate checked bag forbidden fruit. If you put this in your suitcase, you aren't just risking your property, you're actually risking a federal fine or even a flight ban. And surprisingly, it's an item that millions of people use every single day. This brings us to the illegal essentials. Believe it or not, the most common item that could get you flagged by federal security or even cause a mid-air disaster is sitting in your pocket right now. I'm talking about lithium-ion batteries. In 2026, the rules are tighter than ever. If you have a loose power bank, a spare camera battery, or even those high-capacity chargers for your drone tucked into your checked suitcase, you're breaking federal law. These batteries are prone to thermal runaway. Basically, they can catch fire and explode due to the pressure changes in the cargo hold. In the cabin, the crew can put that fire out. In the belly of the plane? It's a different story. I've seen passengers pulled off planes because a smart bag with a non-removable battery started smoking on the tarmac. Don't be that person. But it's not just about the law. It's about your survival. After 15 years in the air, I've boiled it down to the Never Check 7. These are the items that, if lost, will either break your bank, ruin your health, or leave you stranded at a closed car rental counter at midnight. First, prescription medications. As we discussed, an international pharmacy doesn't care about your U.S. script when you're in a crisis. Second, irreplaceable electronics, laptops, tablets, and high-end cameras. The airline's $4,700 domestic liability limit sounds great until you realize electronics are often explicitly excluded in the fine print. Third, jewelry and heirlooms. If it's got sentimental value or a high appraisal, keep it on your person. No amount of airline credit can replace your grandmother's wedding ring. Fourth, critical documents, passports, visas, and physical boarding passes. If your bag is in Paris and you're trying to clear customs in Tokyo, you're in for a long night in a holding room. Fifth, house and car keys. This is the ultimate welcome home nightmare. Don't let a lost bag turn your return flight into a $300 locksmith bill. Sixth, hard cash and credit cards. Never, under any circumstances, leave your emergency stash in a checked bag. Theft happens, and cash is the first thing denied in a baggage claim. Seventh, the 24-hour outfit. Always pack one change of clothes and basic toiletries in your carry-on. If the airline loses your bag, you can at least show up to your morning meeting or that first vacation dinner without wearing the same crusty hoodie you flew in. Now, here's the pro move. The survival strip. Next time you're at the gate and they announce they're checking all remaining bags, don't just hand it over. Open that bag right there on the floor. Rip out these 7 items. I know it feels chaotic, but I promise you, the 60 seconds of airport floor scramble is a whole lot better than spending 3 days in Hawaii with no clean underwear and a missing heart medication. I know this seems like a lot to remember, but once you make this your travel ritual, the baggage claim lottery stops being scary. You'll be the person calmly walking out of the terminal while everyone else is huddled around a dead conveyor belt. If this saved you a future headache, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment with the one item you always refuse to check. I'm curious to see what's on your personal never check list. Safe travels, and I'll see you at the next gate.